All right. Good afternoon, and welcome to our first in a series of TED at Work Lunch and Learns. Excited to have you all here. We got a little bit of introduction to do, and so let me kick that off, starting with myself. My name is Josh Mayleaf. I am the president of L&D Philly and will be your moderator for today's Lunch and Learn, as well as the upcoming ones that we have scheduled. Since I asked everybody before we started this, if you have a favorite TED Talk, um, my reality is part of the reason I wanted to do these Lunch and Learns is I haven't watched a ton of them, so it's a good way to get me into it. One I've used in training, and this is pretty cliche, and I suspect all of you have seen this or possibly even used it to train because it's got like tens of millions of views on it, is Simon Sinek's How Great Leaders Inspire Action. It's the Golden Circle one. So that was my list on that. Let me go ahead and do a couple of quick organization announcements here. So some upcoming sessions. What we've got coming is the additional TED at Work sessions that we have. There's two more scheduled for the summer, and I'm hoping that we continue it past that. Depends what the response is from all of you. So on July 12th and also then on August 23rd. Additionally, we have an in-person event. I know, crazy, right? We might actually be able to see each other in person. And we are doing our quarterly meetup. I see Liz is on here. She's one of the hosts for the meetup. So we're going to be on July 25th at a restaurant in Abington. Got a couple of quick words on that, Liz?
This is Ban Ban Asian Bistro in Abington. It's right on 611, really accessible from a lot of different areas. The food's pretty good. It's super casual. Um, we're going to do it kind of the same way as we've been doing the virtual meetups, a little bit less structured, but we are going to come with some definite topics we want to address. But we'll have plenty of time to just just riff and enjoy each other's L&D stories and company, and looking forward to that. Hope you can come. It's not expensive, and that's it.
Awesome. Yeah. So good opportunity to mix and mingle, with your L&D colleagues and meet some new people. And so please check it out. If you're not a member, you can always join. It's only $25 a year, and that gets you starting off with a free networking event and then all the webinars. On that note, just want to take a moment to give a shout out to our sponsors. And that's the reason we're able to do the programming that we do at the pricing we do. So first up is Judge Learning Solutions. They are a website sponsor. You can find their logo literally on every page on our website. Two main things that they do is they do custom development services as well as placement. So either if you're looking to hire or you're in a position looking for a job, you can check out our friends at Judge Learning Solutions. Degreed is our email sponsor. And so their logo is in every email every weekly email we send out. And also what they've done is shared a report. If you scroll down that email to the bottom, there's a banner ad you can click on to download a report from Degreed. And I think this one's on the state of learning, I believe. And the last sponsor I want to thank is, too far, is TED at Work. So this whole program is an initiative that we're partnering with TED at Work on that, and actually let me read something real quick, and you can look at what's on the slide here as well. But so today's experience is brought to us by our friends at TED at Work, which is TED's new workplace learning and culture solution. The program combines mind-shifting TED Talks with group discussion tools like we're going to use today to inspire new ways of working at the individual and team levels. You can learn more about TED at Work by checking out the information in the follow-up email from today's event, which I'll send out in the next couple of days. So let's dive in and do this. But yeah, TED at Work, basically, our partnership with them is what allows us to be able to stream the TED Talk. So we're appreciative of that. Otherwise I would have had to send you assignments. This is better. I've been describing these sessions to people as being like a book club without having to read the book. So welcome to it. Here's our agenda for today. First, we're going to do a little bit of the introduction and context. We're going to move into some questions. We'll have a note on intention and group norms. We have the actual TED Talk. We're going to get into some breakout groups, and we'll share some key takeaways and wrap up and get everybody back to whatever you have going on post lunch. So one introduction I also want to make here. So, and looking around real quick at who's here, we have some volunteers in our midst. Shannon is one of our volunteers. Tanya is a board member. So thank you both for being here. And also Sarah, sorry, I missed Sarah with that. I'm trying to look at the participant list. So got some of our volunteers, and last but not least is Lindsay, who is serving as our producer for the day. So she'll be looking in chat if anybody has any issues or anything. Hopefully not, and is here to keep things alive if my internet goes, which hopefully now that the monsoons have stopped should not be a problem. All right, so context for the session. So here's the things we're going to be looking at today. So first of all, learn something. Oops, yeah, that's what I'm showing. Sorry about that. So try to learn something new out of this. That might be from the TED Talk. It might be from the people you talk to, but hopefully everybody walks away learning something. It's an opportunity to meet or reconnect with some colleagues. We are going to be doing smaller breakout groups, so everybody should get a chance to meet with each other or meet each other. And again, that engaging with the community. And as I threw up on there, pro tip. We're a relatively small group. Everybody should get a chance to meet each other, and have your LinkedIn profile URL available, because I'll throw up some time at the end if you want to share it, but just, if you get a moment, go into LinkedIn, copy your URL, and we can share them in chat and maybe connect with some new people. All right, so let's get into the programming here. So start off by hearing from all of you in chat. And if you want to come off as well, but start in chat. What appealed to you about this format? I'm a little bit curious, just from, this is new, want to find out, what interested you, and, what we can also do in future sessions potentially as well. So take a moment and just think about that and put some answers in chat as to what appealed to you about the format of this. All right, so because it's the first one, quick opportunity to network, easy accessibility on a relevant and interesting and relevant topic. Good. And if you don't want to type, if you just want to talk, just unmute and tell me. Okay, so doing this at work sometimes for staff and lunch, that works as well. New to TED Talks, welcome, Angel. Yeah, it's I'm into that as well. Like I said, I haven't watched a ton of them, but it's also one of those things that having the opportunity and having it on my schedule and playing it for me makes it a little bit easier. And just curiosity. Awesome. Thank you all for sharing that. So a little bit of, we'll call it ground rules for lack of a better way to put it. And so the spirit of the discussion, what we're bringing to this, and I think as L&D professionals, this is probably obvious and the kind of things that we preach to other people, but curiosity, debate, inclusion, impact are the main things here. We want to make sure that everyone can participate in a way that's meaningful and comfortable for them while remaining present and showing respect. Because we're going to share our ideas and things. So along with that, a couple of, as it says, group norms. Try to stick to I statements, as in I think this, focusing on ideas and personal experiences. No one's going to be singled out or expected to represent a group or idea. Everyone can decide what participation looks like to them. For example, by taking notes or reflecting individually. All right. Let me pause for a sec. Any questions or anything on any of this so far? All right. So what that means is we are at the point of actually watching the TED Talk. That was our TED Talk. And to the next thing we have up here is Lindsay is going to launch a poll for us. Yeah, that was the right one. Lindsay's going to launch a poll for us here, and it's in which zone do you spend most of your time? kind of see where we're all, a little bit of level setting here to see where we're at. And I think this is bearing out very much along the lines as I would have expected. You go ahead and share the results. So yeah, so most of us, and I mean, I would add in that I'm in the performance zone more often, even as much as I get the opportunity to do things like this with L&D Philly. So, and the majority of us are saying that, and not knowing is fair, and trying to balance that time is also good. So, again, that was more just a little bit out of curiosity here. So, moving into the next piece. So this one we're going to do as a group, and you can start off in chat here, and then we'll get into some of the breakouts. What's one thing you'd like to get better at, and why? While you're putting in some notes, I'll share one of mine personally here, and it's been one I've been looking into, is coaching. I've noticed that it's become something within L&D circles, and specifically in different job descriptions, that coaching has become a bigger element, where I think in the past it was a little bit more separated. And so I'm trying to learn and understand a little bit more about that to become more well-rounded in what we do. So that's mine. Let's see, a couple others we've got in chat here of presenting to upper man. Oops, you're all chatting and it moved up. Good job. Presenting to upper management. I have good ideas that sometimes get lost in translation. So that, being able to get the message across is a good one. Writing blogs and brochures. Forecasting and budgeting. Yeah, I feel like numbers, things like that, are not strong suits for many in L&D. So you're probably not alone in that one. Listening and communicating better, knowing your audience, slowing down and thinking things before reacting, always a good one. Learning technologies like Canva. So plug here, we have a Canva workshop on, I think it's like September 27th. So that's one where we can help you out a little bit here. And yeah, Canva is a great tool. We use it as an organization. Getting a little bit better about video, audio, and photo editing. Backward plug to, there was a thing from Matt Pierce from TechSmith a couple months ago that you might want to check out a recording of. So I did not necessarily start this with the idea of connecting it to L&D Philly stuff, but I'm glad it does. Let's see. Shannon, I like yours. Let you know when you get a job, an L&D job with adults. Yeah, but maybe that is what it is. It's moving towards that. And let's see, concise, clear emails. Ooh, that's a big one. Remove confusion without unintentionally offending anyone. Yeah, and you got a like on, or Shannon got a like on that one in the previous one. And then let's see, assessing learning and giving constructive feedback. That's all big topics there. Anybody want to elaborate more on any of those than what we just went through? Not a requirement. Go ahead.
Yeah, I kind of feel like all of us in the learning industry are really in a very weird space on that learning performance continuum. Like we're developing or designing or building learning experiences, and then we test them out. And when we test them out, are we performing or are we learning? And is performance just when you get to the very last practice, which is the final product? And I was also thinking how in the consultative aspects of performing my job, where I'm asking lots and lots of questions, so in my performance of my job, I am learning. so
yeah, you know what? That's interesting. I would say my take on that, and I'd be curious if others agree, is that when we're talking about those kind of things, I think that is what you just described. I would say, and I'm not an expert in this, I would say that's performance. I'd say what you're doing right now is learning to apply towards your performance. Now, is there a gray area in there? There probably is, right? Because I think hopefully everybody learns from their mistakes. And so when you're performing and you notice, or learn from the successes too, right? That when you're doing something, hopefully you are working on continual improvement. But it's really more, I would think that the kind of stuff you're describing is more project based as opposed to knowledge for the sake of knowledge kind of thing. Like, are you practicing to become a better facilitator, or are you just tweaking something you're presenting, right? Like the example he had in there with the sword and the guy's shoulder. Like, are you working on correcting or just, general stuff? So does that make sense?
Yeah, I was kind of talking about refining, and when you refine your project, your performance gets to another level, but it's performance and it's performance and learning kind of together.
Yeah, and I don't think there's a right answer here, right? I
No,
think
I
the
know.
purpose of the talk is to be somewhat provocative. So that worked, which is good. All right, let's look at, we're going to move into our breakout here. So as I'm getting the room set up, actually, Lindsay, you want to do me a favor and just read that for me, please? I know I put you on the spot.
So near the end of his talk, Eduardo shares a number of ways we can create time and space to be in the learning zone. Which of these would you like to try individually or with your team?
Well, we're going to debrief for a few minutes, so this is your chance. Maybe Susan, if you want to start off with that, if you think it's a good example, feel free.
Yeah, well, we were just talking about, we were all commenting on how sometimes just doing something, instead of planning to do something 2 times a week, 3 times a week, that you're going to learn something, it's sometimes that can be intimidating and it doesn't always work out. But if you do it either when you think about it, like I'm thinking about it, so I'm just going to do it for 2 minutes. So I'm going to keep weights over here and I'm just going to lift weights because I just thought about it. Or Liz is going to practice her dancing style because she just thought about it, instead of, and I was mentioning that it reminded me of something I just read in a book we're reading at work right now called Atomic Habits. And he does the same thing called the power of 2 minutes, right? And if you start something for 2 minutes, he says, and it's true, the likelihood is that you'll just start doing it longer, right? So I'll work on that project I hate working on just for 2 minutes. And then here you end up and it's an hour later and you're like, oh, like I'll do that new dance move for 2 minutes. And then you end up doing it for 10, right? So that was what we were talking about.
I'm a big fan of taking care of things in the moment too, like that. Like if it's something I can get done in 2 minutes and just get it off my plate and be done with it. That's a good one. Any other big takeaways we want to share from this one, from what you had in your breakout groups? No other good tips? Come on, somebody's got something. Susan, were you trying to come off mute or?
No, I just muted. Oh,
no,
there's
sorry,
another
others.
Susan. I'm sorry. I'm like, I already talked. Sorry,
Yeah.
Susan.
Well, hopefully they were good conversations nonetheless then, but if we're going to keep them to yourselves, which is fine, let's go into the next one here. So the next conversation is going to be when you need to, let's try that again. I missed a word. That's what I was actually fixing on the slides. There's a word missing, but I figured out what it was. When you need to get into the learning zone for L&D related topics, what are your best sources? I will tell you on this one, so there's a breakout for this. Again, we're going to set you up for 9 minutes. And just to prep you a little bit, when you come back, I'm going to give everybody the opportunity to annotate some answers so we can share our sources. But hopefully there's a good opportunity to dive into good sources and good opportunities to help us actually get into the learning zone. All right, so got everybody back. So now it's time to test the trainers. Who knows how to annotate in Zoom? Or better yet, does anybody need help doing annotation in Zoom? Let's share some of the sources. One of the ones that we just talked about was, of course, I'm trying to type and it's not showing up. There we go. Is Training Magazine. So go ahead and just start adding stuff in and let's see what we came up with.
Tanya mentioned SHRM Magazine.
Okay.
And ATD Magazine.
So I know for ATD you have to be, so we're going through magazines, which is good. I know for ATD you have to be an ATD national member to get the magazine. Is the same thing true of SHRM? Anyone know?
I'm not sure. I'm sorry.
It's all right. So things to look at though, but I mean, SHRM is an organization, good to follow them at least. There's also a bunch of local SHRM chapters that you can check out, including the Philly SHRM chapter. On our website, we have a list of partners. So if you go to ldphilly.com and there's a partner option at the top, you'll see that there's links to multiple HR related organizations in the area. Philly SHRM, I think Garden State, Tri-State, there's one in Valley Forge too. So take a look there. Let's see what else we got. YouTube, LinkedIn Learning, Kathy Moore's blog. Yeah, there's also, I think, I'm still updating some parts of the website. There's a list of blogs and Kathy's is on there. I believe she does design stuff, if I'm correct. Okay. People, communities. Oh, okay. So e-learning heroes. Who posted that? Anybody want to talk about it? Was that Sarah? Or?
Oh, sorry. I didn't post it, but yes, I agree with that one.
Oh, Angel, was that you then?
I posted it, yeah, and then we discussed it. I forget who in our group actually mentioned the e-learning here specifically, but I just thought I usually do better by asking a person that's faster for me than having to sift through a lot of stuff.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, so, but and it's basically for e-learning design stuff, right?
And specifically, especially Storyline.
For
yeah.
Storyline, that's right. It's affiliated with Articulate. I
Yeah.
knew that. LinkedIn Learning, Degreed, good sponsor plug. YouTube, ATD Accidental Trainer Podcast. I didn't know that one. L&D Career Club Podcast. Another one I'll throw out just for podcast wise is If You Ask Betty, which I have been a guest on, and I know Betty pretty well. Now she's got all kinds of stuff, including a series she just did on accessibility that's really good to check out. So some good sources there. So thank you all. And we are up against time here, and I promised some LinkedIn, and I see some of it in there. So, oops, I got to clear the annotation. So mine, if you want to get me, I put my QR code on there, which I will add as a bonus cheat. If anybody doesn't know how to generate a QR code within the LinkedIn app to be able to do this, I can show you. And it's, I mentioned I was at a conference in the group I was in. You can basically just do it on your phone and keep scanning each other. So if I'm not connected with any of you, please feel free to connect. Anyone else who wants to connect and share profiles, please throw it in the chat. And I have a couple of minutes to stick around, but I'm trying to be good on time and end this thing on time. So thank you all for joining and making our first go at this successful, and hope to see you in future ones and connect online.